each and every partner has equal right to take decision in a firm. Each and every partner has a right to share profit. In which ratio they are going to share their profit? In the agreed ratio. So any personal expenses or any expenses of partnership firm which is given by the partner has to be indemnified by the partnership firm. Hello everyone, I am Harshita, lecturer, Department of Commerce, Vidyashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, Mysore. Today, we shall begin with the 5th unit of Financial Accounting 2, and that is for 2nd SEM BBA students. So, what is this 5th unit? So, it is all about partnership accounts. So, my dear students, in your PUC, you have studied about partnership accounts like admission, retirement as well as death of a partner. So, here in this chapter, you are going to learn in detail about admission, retirement as well as death of a partner. And you are going to learn how the accounts has to be prepared during each situation. Now, before moving on to the concept of admission, retirement as well as death, let us know what is the meaning of this partnership. So, for that we shall see the meaning of partnership. So, why this partnership has emerged? So, the limitations of sole trading concern. So, there are different forms of business, right? Like sole trading concern, joint Hindu family business, partnership firm, joint stock company. So, after sole trading concern, the limitations of sole trading concern has led to the emergence of partnership firm. Now, you just imagine what are the limitations of sole trading concern. So, it is started by a single person where there will be limited amount of capital as well as limited amount of resources, and even the managerial activity has to be undertaken by a single person, and all the profit and loss arising from sole trading concern will be within the owner itself, within the sole trader itself, right? And he cannot expand the business unless he has sufficient amount of capital. He cannot expand the business. So, there are certain limitations of sole trading concern like expansion, limited amount of capital as well as limited managerial ability. So, these are the limitations which led to the emergence of partnership firm. So, if a person wants to expand the business, then he goes for partnership firm. He takes a person as a new partner, then even the business expands as well as the capital contribution in the business also increases. So, overall, the limitations of sole trading concern has led to the emergence of partnership firm. Or if a person wants to expand the business, then he goes for partnership firm. Now, what is this partnership firm? Partnership is the association between two or more persons. So, this you have to remember. So, partnership is the association, in the sense it is a association, in the sense it is a group of people between two or more persons. In the sense the minimum number of partner in a partnership firm is how much? It is 2. So, there should be at least 2 members to start a partnership firm, and 2 or more person who agree to carry on the business activity. So, if 2 or more person come together and they have to conduct business activity where their main aim is to earn profit, right? So, they come together and they earn profit to share profit and loss arising from it and act both as an agent as well as principal of the firm. So, here 2 or more person come together and they undertake business activity, they share profit and loss arising from it, and each partner should act both as agent as well as principal. Now, each and every partner should act as principal as well as agent. Now, when a partner acts as a principal, so if a partner takes decision and other partners follows those decision, then he acts as a principal. He takes the decision and other partners of the firm follows his decision. Then he acts as a principal. Then when a partner acts as an agent, when other partners takes decision and if he follows their decision, then he acts as an agent. In the sense, each and every partner has equal right to take decision in a firm. So each and every partner should act both as well as principal. In the sense, he has a right to take decision as well as he should act as an agent. He should follow those decisions. He should follow other partners' decision. Then only he is called as a partner of the firm. So this is about meaning of partnership. Now we shall move on to the definition of partnership. So what is the definition of partnership? According to section 4 of Indian Partnership Act 1932 defines partnership as follows. So here section 4 of Indian Partnership Act 1932 defines partnership as follows. Partnership is a relation between persons. So relation between persons in the sense there should be two or more persons who have agreed to share the profits of the business and carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. So what does it mean, carried on by all or any one of them acting for all? It means that each and every partner should act as a principal as well as agent. So each and every partner has a right to take decision as well as he has to follow other partners' decision. So this definition tells that it is a relation between persons. Relation between person in the sense there should be two or more persons who have agreed to share the profit of the business. So whatever business activity they are going to undertake, so what the profit they are going to earn, so they have to share those profit carried on by all or any one of them acting for all. So here each and every partner should act both as well as principal, both principal as well as agent. So each and every partner has a right to take decision as well as he has to follow other partners' decision. So this is the definition of partnership. Now we shall move on to the features of partnership. So what are the features of partnership? So if you remember the meaning as well as definition, it is very easy to write the features of partnership and it is very simple also. So your first feature is one or more persons. So you know, for each and every partnership firm, so if it is called as partner or if it should be called as partnership, then there should be at least minimum 2 members. So it is 2 or more members. There must be at least 2 members. So there should be at least 2 persons in a partnership firm to form a partnership. So your minimum number of partner is 2 and the maximum is 100. So what is the minimum number of partners or minimum number of partners to form a partnership firm? That is 2 and the maximum number of partners is 100. So this is the first feature, that is 2 or more persons. And the next one is agreement. So this is very important. So unless otherwise there is an agreement in a partnership, it cannot be called as a partnership firm. So if there is no agreement, then no partnership firm. There should be an agreement between the partners. So as I told, there should be more than 2 members, right? So there should be agreement between them. In order to have a partnership, it is necessary that there must be an agreement between the partners. So there should be an agreement between the partner, and the agreement can be either written agreement or it can be oral agreement. So the agreement can be either written agreement or oral agreement. Now, which agreement is more preferable? Written agreement is more preferable than oral agreement. But there is no compulsion that there should be written agreement only. There should be agreement, but it can be either written or oral agreement. And written agreement is more preferable than oral agreement. Why written agreement is more preferable? Because oral agreement can be changed. It is through word of mouth, right? Oral agreement is through word of mouth and it can be changed in future also between the partners. But whereas written agreement always acts as an evidence. So written agreement is more preferable than oral agreement. So this is the second feature of partnership. Now we shall move on to the third feature of partnership, that is existence of business and profit motive. So here you have to remember, partnership is mainly formed in order to take business activity, right? So for example, if A and B are jointly purchased a property, for example, that is land. Now whether A and B is called as a partner? No. They have just purchased that land, so they have not undertaken business activity. So they have just purchased, so they are called as what? They are joint owner of the property. They are not partners, they are just joint owner of the property. So now we are clear about it. So here, if we tell partnership, so there should be a business activity where the main aim is to earn profit. So then only it is called as a partnership firm. So partnership can be formed for the purpose of carrying on some business. So there can be any business activity, but there should be some business activity, and with the intention of what? With the intention of earning profit, and such business must be legal business. So this also you have to remember. So what does this point as? Existence of business and profit motive. So partnership is nothing but they are joining together and their main aim is to undertake business activity and they have to earn profit. So their main aim is to earn profit. So they are undertaking business activity in order to earn profit, and that business should be a legal business. And the next one is sharing of profit. Yes, of course, as I told, the main intention of the partnership firm is to earn profit, and whatever the profit comes out of partnership firm, that has to be shared among all the partners in their profit sharing ratio. So the agreement between the partner must be aimed at sharing the profits of the business. So what is the main aim? In order to share the profits of the business. Further, if a partner is deprived of his right to share the profit of the business, he cannot be called as a partner. So if any partner is deprived, or if he is not got the profit of the firm, then he is not called as a partner. So he should get profit of the firm in his profit sharing ratio. But it is not necessary that all partners should share the loss of the business. So it may be agreed between the partner that one or more of them shall not be liable for losses. Their main aim should be earning of profit. So earning of profit, and that profit will be distributed among the partner. So if any partner is deprived of that profit, then he is not called as a partner, but it is not compulsory that he should share the loss also. So he should share the profit, but it is not compulsory that he should share the loss of the business. So this is the fourth point, that is sharing of profit. And the next one is relation of principal as well as agent. So this I have explained. Each and every partner has equal right to take decision in the business. So each and every partner should act both as a principal as well as agent. So when he acts as a principal, if he takes decision and other follows those decision. For example, if A, B and C are partners in a firm, and when A acts as a principal, so when A acts as a principal, if he takes decision and others follows those decision, then A acts as a principal. When A acts as an agent, now here when A acts as an agent, if B and C takes decision and A follows those decision of B and C, then A acts as an agent. In the sense, each and every partner has equal right to take decision as well as equal right to follow others' decision. So here there should be a mutual agency between the partners. Each partner is an agent as well as principal of the firm. A principal because he can bind the other partner by his act. In the sense, he takes decision and others follows those decision, then he acts as a principal. And an agent because he himself can be bound by the acts of other partner. So if other partners take decision, then he follows those decision, then he acts as an agent. Next is management. So how will be the management in a partnership firm? Management of the partnership firm will be done either by all the partners or any one of them on behalf of all the partners. Here, management can be taken by or management can be made by all the partner. In the sense, by their equal right, they can take decision or on behalf of other partners. If one person can take decision on behalf of other partners. So this also can happen in a partnership firm. That is, management of the partnership will be done either by all the partners. So they can altogether they can manage the partnership firm or any one of them on behalf of all the partners. So here any one can take decision or all the partners can join together and take decision. There is mutual agency among the partners. So there should be a mutual consent as well as mutual agency among all the partners. So they should join together. There should be proper understanding between the partners. So this is about management. Now we shall move on to the next concept, that is rights of a partner. Now we shall see what each and every partner has a right in a partnership firm. So the first one is every partner has a right to share profit or loss. So each and every partner has a right to share profit or loss with other partner in their agreed ratio. So as I told, in a partnership firm there will be an agreement, right? So that agreement will contain all the contents of the partnership firm where they will mention the profit sharing ratio also. So your first point is all about each and every partner has a right to share profit. In which ratio they are going to share their profit? In the agreed ratio. In the agreement, what they have agreed, in that ratio, they are going to share their profit as well as loss. And the next one is, every partner has a right to take part in the conduct of the business. In the sense, each and every partner has an equal right in order to interfere in the partnership activities. So each and every partner right to take part in the conduct of the business. And the next one is, every partner has a right to be consulted in the matters relating to the partnership business. So he can interfere in any of the managerial activity of the business. So this is also one of the right of a partner. And the next one is, every partner has a right to inspect and have the copy of books of accounts. So as I told, each and every partner has an equal right in the partnership firm. In the same way, what happens here? Each and every partner can check the books of accounts of a partnership firm. So they can check the accounts of the partnership firm, how it is running, how the accounts are being maintained, and each and every partner should have a copy of that account. And the next one is, every partner has a right to disallow the admission of a new partner. Suppose now X and Y are partners. They wanted to admit Z into a partnership firm. For example, Z wanted to admit into the partnership firm of X and Y. Now here Z can be admitted only with the consent of these two partners. For example, if X agrees for the admission of Z but Y don't agrees, Y doesn't agree, then admission of a new partner cannot happen. Here, admission of a new partner can happen only if all the partners agrees. Then only a new partner can be admitted into a partnership firm. If any of the partner doesn't want the admission of a new partner, then no admission of a new partner happens in a partnership firm. Next, sixth right is, every partner is a joint owner of the partnership property. For example, there are number of assets will be there in a partnership firm. For example, land, building, furniture. So all these assets belongs to each and every partner of the partnership firm. So they have joined together and they are conducting their business activity, right? Here what happens, the property of the partnership firm will become, or the partner will become the joint owner of all the property there, right? For example, land. So all the partner will become the joint owner of that particular land. So every partner is a joint owner of the partnership property, because this is not a private property, right? It is a partnership property. So each and every partner will become the joint owner of that property. And the next one is, if a partner has given loan to the firm, he has a right to receive interest at agreed rate. So for example, if a loan is required for a partnership firm and a partner can provide loan to the partnership firm. Here partner is different, partnership firm is different, right? A partner can provide loan to the partnership firm but an agreed rate. So what is the agreed rate of interest on loan? That will be at 6% per annum. So 6% per annum has to be given to the partner on the loan provided to the partnership firm. So it will be always 6%. If nothing is mentioned in the agreement, then it will be 6% interest on loan of a partner. And the next one is, if a partner incurs expenses or makes payment on behalf of the firm, he has a right to indemnified by the firm. For example, if any expenses of the firm is incurred by the partner, so what happens? So that amount has to be given by the partnership firm. As I told, here partner is different and partnership firm is different. So partner is different and partnership firm is different. So whatever, as I told, if a partner gives a loan to the partnership firm, then firm has to give 6% interest. 6% interest on partner's loan. In the same way, if a partner have done any expenses or incurred any expenses of partnership firm, then partnership firm has to return it back. So it has to be return it back to the partner. So any personal expenses or any expenses of partnership firm which is given by the partner has to be indemnified by the partnership firm. Next is, every partner has a right to retire from the firm after giving a proper notice. So, however, how the admission of a partner takes place, in the same way, retirement also can take place in a partnership firm. So, each and every partner has a right to retire from the partnership firm by giving a proper notice to other partners. So, these are the rights of a partners. Now we shall move on to the partnership deed. Now what is this partnership deed? So earlier I have told about this agreement, right? So there should be an agreement between the partners. So agreement is very essential in a partnership firm, right? So that agreement is known as what? Partnership deed. So we don't call it as an agreement, we call it as partnership deed under partnership firm. So what is this partnership deed? The document which contains the terms and conditions regarding the conduct of a partnership business is called as partnership deed. So what it is? It is a document. So as I told, the agreement can be either oral agreement or written agreement. So now what is this partnership deed? The document which contains terms and conditions. So under partnership deed, it contains all the terms and conditions of a partnership business. Is called as what? Partnership deed. So we shall discuss in detail what does it contains. Right? Now for time being you remember, so what is this partnership deed? So it is a document which contains all the terms and conditions of the partnership business is called as partnership deed. And as I told, it can be either oral or written, but the written agreement is more preferable than oral agreement because this written agreement acts as an evidence in the future. Whereas oral agreement can be changed, whereas written agreement we cannot change. So it acts as a proof, it acts as an evidence. So written agreement, but there is no compulsion that there should be a written agreement. So it can be either oral or written, but written is more preferable than oral agreement. So this is about partnership deed. Now we shall see what are the contents. So you know what is partnership deed? So it is a document which contains terms and conditions of a partnership business, right? Now what are the contents of partnership deed? So what does it contain? So what are the contents which includes in partnership deed? So the first one is name and address of the firm. So it contains detail about the name and address of the firm. So what is the name of the partnership firm and what is the address of partnership firm? And the next one is name and address of the partners. So as I told, there should be at least a minimum 2 members in a partnership firm. So their name as well as address of the partners. So first one is name and address of the firm. Next is name and address of the partners. And the next one is type and nature of the business the firm proposes to do. So what type of business they are going to undertake? So what type of business they are undertaking? So this has to be mentioned in the partnership deed. So whether it is a trading business or whether it is a manufacturing business, so this has to be mentioned in the partnership deed. And the next one is amount of capital to be contributed by each partner. So what is the amount of capital? So you know, for each and every firm, capital contribution is very important, right? So here also each and every partner will contribute capital to the partnership firm. So for example, now A, B and C are partners. Now how much capital they have contributed? For example, 50,000, 30,000 and 30,000. So this has to be mentioned. So amount of capital contributed by each partner. Then how this partners capital account are maintained. So this you are going to discuss in detail. So there are 2 methods in order to maintain the capital account of partners, that is fixed capital method and fluctuating capital method. So your fourth content is amount of capital to be contributed by each partner and which method is followed in order to maintain the capital account of partner, whether it is fixed capital method or fluctuating capital method. Next is interest on capital. Yes, of course, if a partner have invested capital into the business, interest on capital has to be given. Then what is the rate of interest on capital? So that you have to mention. So it may be 4% or 6% or 8%. So this you have to mention in the partnership deed. So what is the rate of interest on capital? Next is drawings. So what do you mean by drawings? If a partner withdraws amount from the partnership firm for his personal use, then it is called as drawing. So as I told, partner is different, partnership firm is different. So if a partner, for example, so this is firm, partnership firm and A is a partner. Now firm is different, partner is different, right? So now A wants to withdraw, A in need of rupees 10,000 and A withdraws amount from the partnership firm. So for his personal use, not for the firm's activity. So for his personal use, then that amount is called as what? Drawings. So what is drawings? The amount which is withdrawn by the partner for his personal use is called as drawings. So how much the amount can be withdrawn by the partners? So if they want amount for their personal use, then how much amount can be withdrawn by the partner from the firm? That they have to mention. Next, interest on drawing. So if they withdraw certain amount from the firm, how much interest will be charged by the firm? So that they have to mention. So it will be in the form of percentage. For example, 7% or 8% or 9%. So any percentage of interest on drawings. If they are going to charge on that, that have to be mentioned. Next is profit sharing ratio. So what is their profit sharing ratio? For example, if A, B and C are partners and they are going to share their profit equally, then their profit sharing ratio will be 1:1:1. In the same way, 3:2:1 or 4:5:2. So this will be their profit sharing ratio. How they are going to share their profit and loss in the future, that has to be mentioned. Next is salary. So if any partner have done or have worked in the partnership firm, for that any salary has to be given from the firm. So that for any extra work done by the partner, the firm has to give the salary. So if they give such kind of salary, they have to mention what is the amount of salary to be given to the partner. So when they will give the salary, if a partner have done any extra work in the partnership firm, so they will provide salary for that. So what is the amount of salary to be given to the partner for the extra work done? So that they have to mention. Next is goodwill. So what is the goodwill of the firm? So what do you mean by goodwill? Name, fame or reputation of the firm. So what is the goodwill of the firm? That also has to be mentioned in the contents of partnership deed. And the next content is accounting period of the firm. So what is the accounting period? So whether they are going to maintain account for 1 year or quarterly or half yearly, so that they have to mention. So what is the accounting period? So it may be 1 year or half year or quarterly they can maintain their accounts, that they have to mention. Next, method of recording firm's accounts. So which method they are going to use in order to record the firm's account, that they have to mention in their partnership deed. Next is auditing. So whether they are going to auditing process. So what is the process of auditing? Whether an auditor has to be appointed in order to undertake auditing, so that they have to mention in their partnership deed. Next, date of commencement of partnership. So when they are going to start their partnership firm. So for example, if they are starting on 1st April 2021. So this is the date of commencement, in the sense when they are going to start their partnership firm. So that date they have to mention in the deed. Next, duration of partnership. So they have started the partnership, and for how many years they are going to continue that partnership firm. For example, they have started for 10 years. Then duration of partnership will be 10 years. So after the 10 years, they may continue or they can stop their partnership firm. So the duration they have to mention. So it may be 5 years, 2 years, 10 years. So this is the duration of partnership. So for how many years they are going to continue that partnership firm. And the next one is bank accounts. How they are going to maintain their bank account. Whether they will open a bank account in the firm's name or in any of the partner's name, that they have to mention. So on whose name they are going to open the bank account. Next, rules to be followed in case of admission of a partner. So what are the rules to be followed during admission of a partner? So as I told, during admission, with the consent of all the partner, they can admit a new partner. They can bring in a new partner. So what are the rules to be followed? So there are certain rules. So we cannot take a new partner randomly, right? We have to follow certain rules. And what are the rules during admission of a partner? And the next one is rules to be followed while settling the accounts on retirement. So this is one of the right of a partner. A partner can retire from a partnership firm by giving a due notice, right? So what is the process of retirement, that they have to mention. Next, rules to be followed while settling the accounts on dissolution of a partnership firm. So what do you mean by dissolution of a partnership firm? Closing down of partnership firm is called as dissolution, right? So what are the rules to be followed? How they are going to close their partnership firm, that they have to mention. Next is settlement of disputes. So disputes is nothing but clashes between the partners. So if there is any problem, how they are going to solve? How they are going to solve those clashes between the partner. So that is known as disputes. So they have to mention in the deed how they are going to settle that clashes, how they are going to settle those disputes. So these are the certain contents of partnership deed. So there may be few more contents, but time being, you remember, partnership deed is nothing but it is a document which contains all the terms and conditions of a partnership business. And these are the certain contents of partnership deed. Now let us see what are the rules applicable in the absence of partnership deed. So for example, as I told, the deed can be either oral or written. Suppose they have not mentioned anything or there is no partnership deed, then how they are going to share their profit and loss? Then what will be the rules to be followed in the absence of partnership deed? So the first one is, we should see about profit sharing ratio. How they are going to, if the partnership deed is silent about profit sharing ratio, then how they are going to share their profit sharing ratio? That is, should be shared equally, irrespective of their capital contribution. So whatever may be their capital contribution, but it has to be shared equally. For example, if M, N and O, and M have contributed rupees 1 lakh and N have contributed rupees 50,000 and O have contributed rupees 30,000. But partnership, there is no partnership deed. Then how they can share their profit sharing ratio? They have to share it equally, because they have not mentioned anything in the partnership deed. Even though the capital contribution is different, but they are going to share their profit equally. That is 1:1:1 ratio. Next is interest on capital. So as I told, each and every partner will contribute capital to a partnership firm. For that, interest has to be charged. So if the partnership deed is silent about interest on capital, then no interest on capital has to be given. So there is no interest to be given on capital. Next is interest on drawings. So drawings is nothing but what? The amount which is withdrawn by the partner for their personal use from the firm is called as drawings. Now, a partner has withdrawn certain amount from the organization, from the partnership firm, but the partnership deed is silent about interest on drawing. Then what to do? No interest on drawing has to be charged. If the deed is silent, no interest on capital, no interest on drawing. Next is salary. Salary to a partner. So as I told, if a partner have done any extra work in the partnership firm, he has to be given salary, right? Suppose if the deed is silent about it, then what to do? No partner is entitled to any salary or commission for taking part in running of firm's business. Then no partner has to be given salary as well as commission. So whatever the work he might have done in the organization, but the deed is silent about it, then no salary or commission has to be given to the partner. Next, interest on loan. Yes, of course, I have told each and every partner has a right to take interest on loan at 6% per annum. Same follows here. If the deed is silent about it, then also 6% has to be given to the partner on interest on loan. 6% per annum has to be given. And the next one is admission of a new partner. So a partner can be admitted into a partnership firm, but the deed is silent about it. Then what to do? Without the consent of all existing partner, no new partner can be admitted to the firm. So this, you know, a partner can be admitted only with the consent of all the partner. Same rules here also. A new partner can be admitted only with the consent of all the partners. So all the partners should agree, then only a new partner can be brought into the business. And the next one is, each partner can participate in the conduct of business. If the deed have told or not, but each partner has to take part in the conduct of the business. He has to actively take part in the activities of the business. Next, each partner can inspect books of firm and take a copy of the same. So each and every partner has a right to take or right to inspect the books of account and have a copy of the same. So if the deed is silent about it, then also this rules follows. So these are the rules to be followed if there is no partnership deed. So what are the rules? Profit sharing ratio. How should be the profit sharing ratio? It should be equal. So that is nothing but 1:1:1 ratio if there are 3 partners. So it should be always equal. And the next one is interest on capital. No interest on capital. What about interest on drawings? No interest on drawings. Salary to a partner for any extra work done. Then it shouldn't be given. No salary or commission has to be given to the partner for the extra work done. Next, interest on loan. It should be 6% per annum, which has to be given to the partner. Then admission of a partner. Admission of a partner can be done only with the consent of all the partner. If all the partners agrees, then only a new partner can be brought into a partnership firm. Next, each partner can participate in all the activities of the business. So it is a right of a partner to participate in the activities of the business. So each and every partner has a right to take part in the activities of the business. Then each partner has a right to inspect books of accounts of the firm as well as have a copy of the same. They can have the copy of the partnership firm. Next, in my next class, I am going to discuss about capital accounts of partners. So in today's session, we learnt about meaning of a partnership, definition of a partnership, features of partnership. Then we learnt about partnership deed, contents of partnership deed, and what are the rules to be followed in the absence of partnership deed. In my next session, I am going to continue with capital accounts of partners. So as I told, each and every partner contributes capital to the business, and there are 2 methods in order to maintain capital accounts of partner. That is, one is fixed capital method and fluctuating capital method. So in my next class, I am going to discuss about fixed capital method. My dear students, in today's session, we learned the basic theory concept of partnership firm. Hope you all understood. In my next session, I am going to continue with capital accounts of partner. See you all in my next session. Till then, take care. Thank you.